What's up everyone, my name is John. Got a good melting pot of stuff that happened today lined up for you, including some hits that Nintendo may be releasing in SNES Classic at the end of this year. Capcom talks about their next DLC character, and some new info on the League of Legends Dark Star game mode. You can find timestamps for each story in the description as well, if you want to skip ahead.
Hey there gamers, I'm Jeff. According to a report from Eurogamer's Tom Phillips, Nintendo will follow up the NES Mini with a Super Nintendo Mini. This particular story has some weight to it, as Phillips correctly reported leaks using similar sources close to Nintendo about the Switch. Development of the device is currently underway, with plans to launch it just in time for the holidays this year. It'll likely continue to use the NES Mini's branding of Nintendo Classic Mini Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Apparently, this was the reason why Nintendo discontinued the NES Mini, despite its availability woes and popularity. Nintendo said last week that the NES Mini was never intended to be a permanent product. It was meant only to be a cool novelty item, and the numbers produced were meant to fulfill that demand. The NES Mini continues to be a popular item for scalpers on eBay, and they're selling at high prices. Yesterday, in fact, we saw prices as high as $300 for the micro console, which have increased from $220 on the 13th of April, the day of the announcement of its discontinuation. The Super Nintendo has among the strongest libraries in retro gaming. Super Mario World, Chrono Trigger, Street Fighter II, The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, Donkey Kong Country, and more all call the SNES home. Compare that with the NES Mini, and you can see why Nintendo has a hit on its hands. The Super Nintendo Mini is expected to stick with the plug-and-play setup from the NES Mini. Nintendo did not comment on Eurogamer's report. Many Street Fighter fans were disappointed in viewing NorCal Regionals, as they were expecting the next Season 2 DLC fighter to be revealed. But now we know why the reveal was delayed. The debut of the new fighter is being held off until the upcoming rework of the Capcom Fighters Network is complete. As a result of these additional tweaks coming to the CFN, Capcom says that they are looking into holding an additional beta test in which the next Season 2 fighter will be playable. We are happy to announce the test has allowed us to make further adjustments to optimize the new CFN, Capcom's Harrison said. We know you're all very eager for the new CFN, but we also want to ensure it meets all of our expectations before it officially launches. In order to help us get the new CFN to where it needs to be, we are looking into conducting an additional beta test soon. The identity of the next fighter will be revealed soon, according to Capcom, as well as any additional details of the upcoming beta test. The CFN update will contain a number of improvements to Street Fighter V's online services. Hopefully, they are also working on tweaks to the netcode while it's in the shop. The upcoming Street Fighter V Season 2 balance update will also be included in the CFN patch, which notably adds changes to Invincible Dragon Punch-style moves, among other extensive rebalancing. To provide further community insight into future updates, the PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds developers have launched their test server and have teased the coming Observer mode. Battlegrounds test server can now be accessed through Steam, while the Observer mode has no set timeline for release. When released, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds Observer mode allows you to review previous matches you've played. You'll be able to follow your character, but also see every other player's position and movement as the game progressed. Interestingly, you'll be able to see how many other players you ran next to, but never quite noticed mid-match. In addition, you'll be able to see what guns they had equipped and their health at various times of the match. If you've played Counter-Strike Global Offensive, you may notice how similar Observer mode is to CSGO's demo feature. You can review old matches to pin down a supposed hacker or learn a different strategy other players might use. The ability to retroactively report players using Battlegrounds Observer mode has not yet been announced, though the feature would be a helpful boost to rooting out cheaters. Just as with Overwatch's public test realm or Battlefield 1's community test environment, Battlegrounds seeks to root out most issues with upcoming patches in their test servers. The developers will be consistently updating the test server every Wednesday with the coming weekly or monthly patches, allowing players to experiment with new content. To access Battlegrounds test server, open Steam and head to your game library. You'll have to download the server before you're able to test any of the new features. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds test server should already be accessible, though the Observer mode will be released at a future date. The latest League of Legends public beta environment update included assets for the previously hinted brand new game mode to celebrate the release of the new Darkstar skins for Orianna and Kha'Zix. It looks rad. Though it isn't yet available for playtesting, Surrender at 20's data mining efforts have revealed a lot about what is at hand. The gameplay tips, in particular, spell it out. Pull or push enemies into the Darkstar. Lower health targets fly much farther, and abilities and items are different, details in the tooltips. Just from that alone, and from the footage earlier revealed, we get a sense of what the game is about. Like with Super Smash Bros., your job is to take your character and send the enemy one hurtling into the blast zone, or the void in this case. Unlike Smash though, it isn't on the peripheries of the stage, it's in the middle. The game mode also includes a custom and highly sinister Star Thresh announcer, egging you on to collect souls on behalf of the Darkstar.
The enemy team has gathered half their souls. Hurry up!
From the sounds of it, you'll need to win 2 out of 3 rounds to truly attain victory in the match. This is one of the few League of Legends rotating map modes that outright changes the win conditions involved. It'll be closest in form to Dominion, it appears, based on having to collect enough points to win the round. But even Dominion had you play a game of map control instead of 3-on-3 grand melee to shove others into a well of hideous darkness. Are you looking forward to the new League of Legends game mode? Let us know in the comments below. Hours after the release of Ghost Recon Wildlands Narco Road, a large portion of the community has united against the DLC. There are quite a few issues players have with the expansion, such as characters being reset to level 20, most of the skill unlocks were reset, and the quote-unquote new weapons were actually uncustomizable variants of existing guns. After looking through most of the threads on the Ghost Recon Wildlands subreddits and several Facebook groups, the gripes are all generally the same. You're forced to make an entirely new character, which starts at level 20. You don't have access to your full weapon loadout. The new guns added into Narco Road are simply named variants and aren't customizable. Technically they are new, but the only point in using them is because they are the only ones available. Skills you previously unlocked in the base game have been reset. Narco Road reappropriates the same map, but closes off the majority. The animals in the animal trafficking missions don't ever get out of their cages. Any semblance of the gritty world of the Ghost Recon universe was torn down by the flashy muscle cars, monster trucks, and nitro boosts. The plane's control schemes are awkward. Your character has no squad, so they're forced to mutter through their own thoughts to themselves. Debating these points, Ubisoft stated Narco Road was always meant to be a standalone expansion, and a wholly different game experience from the base game. They didn't want to mesh Narco Road's features with the storyline of the original Wildlands. Their line of thought screamed laziness to quite a few members of the community. Ghost Recon Wildlands will receive constant updates, yes, but you'll be forced to go back and forth between the base game and the DLC to experience them. Take the season challenges, for example. The feature was just added to Ghost Recon Wildlands a little under a week ago before Narco Road. The challenges are to be updated weekly, but cannot be accessed through the expansion, only the base version. So if you own the DLC, you'll be jumping between 2 versions and the different storylines therein after every weekly challenge update. Because of the disconnect Narco Road imparted on its community, some have suggested holding a blackout event similar to the For Honor boycott a few weeks ago. If anything, the Ghost Recon Wildlands community seeks an open dialogue with the developers. Any dialogue would be ideal, but constant boycotts are not the answer. Threatening the same thing over and over lessens its weight, and eventually, you'll just go unheard. Hopefully, you have yet to lock yourself into the Season Pass. If you haven't, consider your options. You can buy the DLC as a single purchase, which will unlock on April 25th, or you could wait for it to go on sale. Or you could simply not buy Narco Road at all. If you are locked in the Season Pass though, maybe the Ghost Recon Wildlands Fallen Ghost DLC will be better than Narco Road. Maybe. Wait, hold on a bit. One of the Overwatch Uprising sprays may have been ill-timed. As caught by Redditor Prieston, May's new spray for Uprising, other than looking a little sultry as she scrunches her hair up for Pin, seems to hint at upcoming content. Last year, around August, Kaplan had promised that the limited-time Summer Games content, meant to celebrate the Rio Olympics, would get to come back, and not on the Olympics 4-year schedule either. He said, "We wanted to try something new with this event. As we mentioned in the developer update, we're learning and experimenting with this event, and if the event is received well, we will run it again next year. Our Summer Games are on a yearly schedule, not a 4-year schedule. Our plan would be to have the items available again when the event recurs. Perhaps we add new content to it as well? We're not sure yet. We're seeing what works and what doesn't." The May spray would suggest that they're not just satisfied with re-releasing old content either. While no details have been given out yet about how the re-release will be managed, May's sweater and pajamas suggest that there may be new and more yet to come. What Overwatch Olympic skin did you miss out on last time? Let us know in the comments below.
I thought it was suspicious that May had a Summer Games sweater on in that spray. I didn't start playing Overwatch until after that event, so I'd be stoked to get that American McCree skin. Oh, and we actually got some additional details on the League of Legends game mode throughout the day. As far as what Thresh will actually be able to do in the mode, here are the adjustments to his moveset. It looks like Death Sentence will get a range decrease as well as a cooldown decrease to better reap souls on the map, and throwing the hook through the Dark Star will ignite it and cause bonus damage to enemies. It will also pull enemies much further based on their missing health. Dark Passage will automatically save a troubled ally without them needing to click the lantern, which is pretty cool, honestly. But on the downside, there is a longer cooldown and it doesn't grant a shield in this game mode. Flame will now throw enemies much further based on their missing health, but the cooldown is decreased as well. The passive of the move, which grants bonus magic damage, charges faster and hits much harder as well. And it looks like his ult is disabled this game mode. Well, seems like it would only slow down the game mode anyways. Oh, and they're allowing you to play the game mode with his Dark Star skin as well, so if you're on the fence about snagging it, it should give you a good indicator of whether or not you'll actually want it. So those are your stories for the day. Are you looking forward to the possibility of an SNES Mini? Let me know down in the comments. And do remember to like and share this video and subscribe to our channel to keep up with all the news in gaming from the day. And feel free to check out my in-depth Mercy guide listed right here.